Shalom to all Israelites all over the world, and especially in Israel, in Brazil, in all the nations. And here, the elder Assaf Benami Crispin from Yishuv Israeli. Shalom לכולם ישראליצ'ין במזרח התיכון, בישראל, באחרים, Amen. And I would like to talk about the eternal covenant, the covenant that the eternal one, covenant Torah, that the eternal one made with us, with Abraham, with Isaac, with Yaakov, with David, and with us certainly. And in these last days, where we are being called to return the original emunah, original faith. And I would like to read with you about the item of the Torah. We stopped in the item 186, and now we're going to item 187. The God worshiping nations who worship false gods will be destroyed. And I invite you to follow with me this reading in Devarim, Deuteronomy chapter 20, verse 17. But you shall certainly put them under the ban, the Hittites and the Amorites and the Canaanites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, as Yahweh your Elohim has commanded you. And why the Eternal One destroyed these nations? Well, first, because this nation worshipped false gods. And secondly, because this false adoration, it's contrary to the Torah, the word that came out from Yahweh's mouth. We must be careful with that, because the Eternal One will charge of us in the last day. The names of the other idols, we don't pronounce in your mouth. And these nations, they adored, worshipped false gods like Baal, like Dagon, like Anum, like Ashura Mazda, even and others as well. And the Eternal One destroyed them because they didn't keep the eternal covenant. The eternal covenant prohibited us to worship false gods. The name like Jesus, Deus, and Jehovah, and the Rashem, because Rashem is the name of the one man, the Gizonite or Gizonite, and these Greek and Roman names like Theos, and we must be careful with our worshiping before the Eternal One. Well, now we're going to the oral law. We're going to examine it in the oral law in the time of Abraham's, Yaakov's, Job, and Yahusef, This item 187, the God worship nations. Nations who worship false gods will be destroyed. 187. Bereshit 19:13. Bereshit 19:13. Bereshit 19:13. Bereshit 19:13. For we are going to destroy this place, because the cry against them has grown great before the face of Yahweh, and Yahweh has sent us to destroy it. The two men that appeared to Lot in Sodom and Gomorrah. And before that, the three messengers had appeared to Abraham and selling or telling the same thing. And these angels, they didn't seek the mayor of the city, the deputies of the city, the governor of the city, the artist of the city. They didn't seek famous people in the city, Sodom and Gomorrah. They looked a house of a just man that served Yahweh, keeping the commandments of eternal covenant, the Torah. And like Yahushua said, that the same way in these last days, like occurred in in Sodom and Gomorrah times, and the Lot's times, and Noah's time, there will be in the days of the Son of Man. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Then I invite you to search the Torah, because the Torah is our life. The Torah is our simcha, our happiness. The words that came out from Yahweh's mouth. Well, we're going to see now this item, the God worship nations. Nations who worship false gods will be destroyed. We're going to examine it in Yahushua's times, his Talmudim's time as well, because the Torah is eternal one. The Torah, there isn't past tense, present tense, and future tense. The Torah is eternal, is in all dimensions. 187. Masei Shlihim, Act of Apostles, Masei Shlihim, Acts of Apostles, chapter 17, verse 15 to 17. Masei Shlihim. Masei Shlihim. Masei Shlihim. Act of Apostles 17, verse 15 to 17. Let's read it. Masei Shlihim. Verse 15 to 17. And those who arranged for Shaul broke him to Athens, and receiving a command for Silas and Timothy to join him, as soon as possible they departed. But while Shaul was waiting for them at Athens. His spirit was stirred up within him when he saw that the city was utterly idolatrous. Therefore, indeed, he was reasoning in the congregation with the Yahudim and with the Gentile worshippers, and in the marketplace daily with those who met there. Then we can see here that the Silas and Timothy, when they arrived in Athens, the capital of Greece, this city was corrupted with idolatry, many idolatry, like Mercury, like Pluto, like Theos, like gods, and many idols. And the heart, Shaul's heart, was saddened because the idolatry in that city. And in these days, we are more than worse that times, because the idolatry is in all the nations. And the few men will rest in the land, because the majority of them will be destroyed, because the idolatry, because the names of the idols. Well, 188 item, we must blot out the remembrance of God worship. We must blot out the remembrance of God worshippers, those who worship false gods. Devarim 25:19. Devarim 25:19. Devarim 25:19. 25:19. Therefore it shall be, when Yahweh your Elohim has given you rest from your enemies all around, in the land which Yahweh your Elohim is giving you to possess as an inheritance, that you blot out the remembrance of Amalek from under the heavens. Do not forget. Yes, you must forget Amalek, the Amalekim, all the works, bad works that they did, and with Israel, and blocking Israel to pass by their lands, and the idolatry of their idolatry. Well, let's see each oral law in Abraham's times, Job's time. This item 188. 188. Bereshit 19:13. Bereshit 19:13. Bereshit 19:13. For we're going to destroy this place, because the cry against them has grown great before the face of Yahweh, and Yahweh has sent us to destroy it. Amalek was destroyed because their idolatry. And we must blot out from our minds Amalek's bad works forever. We can't remember their action and do it. we must save it. Well, to finalize, we're going to read in Yahushua's time, his Talmudin's time, this item. 188. Masei Shilhim, chapter 7, verse 17 to 19. Masei Shilhim, chapter 7. Masei Shilhim, chapter 7, verse 17 to 19. But as the time of the promise drew near, which Elohim had sworn to Abraham, the people increased and multiplied in Mitzrayim, until another sovereign arose who did not know Yosef. Acts 17. Acts chapter 7, verse 17 to 19. And having dealt treacherously with our race, this one mistreated our fathers, making them expose their babies so that they should not live. And we can see here that these false worshippers did to Israel. And the Egyptians mistreated Israel too much. The Bnei Yaakov, forcing them to work in hard work, forcing them in hard labor with the salaries. And we can't remember, the acts of these false worshippers did to Israel. We must be careful. Amalek, the Amalekim, was a false worship, a false nation of worshipping. And we must blot out the remembrance of God worship, the Amalekim and the Mitzrayim. Allah bless you and your family. Shalom to everybody. And Allah Baruch Atav Ramishpaha Gam. Toda Rabba le Sinlev Shelcha. Yaad Yom Ramishi Rabba.